Hey guys, so today we have this. It's an Echo GT-200i string trimmer. The interesting thing about this one has that easy start system. Not a fan of it, but it does make it easier to pull over if you're lacking strength to pull over a regular one. Now this one does run, however the carburetor seems to have given up the ghost. Either that or spark is no longer functioning. How do I know? Because I was running this for a little bit this summer and it was running just fine. I actually got it to start without actually getting into the carburetor. I followed a suggestion that I learned from Mikeanic and it actually worked wonders on this, but I guess the carburetor just couldn't take it anymore and needs to be cleared out. So let's crack into this and see if we can get this old Echo string trimmer to run again. It does have one minor problem, such as the crack or damage here, I should say, on top of the air filter housing, but it's not too big a deal. So without further ado, guys, let's crack into it. Hey guys, before we get into the video, if this is the type of content you like, give it a thumbs up and also consider hitting the subscribe button below. Anyway, let's get on with the repair. Right, so let's get started. Get this wing nut off. Brand new filter. 2 Phillips head screws, although I do believe these are actually JIS. So I'm seeing the first problem, pinch fuel line. Look at that. I'm sure some of you most likely saw that when I was actually just doing the introduction. So good question though, if this has spark. I believe this does have spark, but we'll just quickly check it. Carburetor on, off, doesn't matter for this. Right, so let me just turn off the light. Pull it over. Make sure the switch is on. Now let's see. I would say we have spark. I wasn't too worried. I was pretty sure that we had spark, which means that possibly it was just this pinch. Let's run through the carb, make sure everything's clear. Take off the fuel lines. This one's stuck on pretty good. Disconnect the carburetor, or at least the throttle linkage. There we go. Carburetor's free. Now let's give it a quick run through. Diaphragm's good, which isn't surprising. It's a new diaphragm. Gasket. Make sure you hold this down. There is a spring underneath. There's the spring. Needle looks good. Take off the bulb. Feels like old gasoline. These are actually valves. I'm just making sure that they're still flat and level with the pumping diaphragm surface. So it looks okay. So if you see how these diaphragms are, you see where they line up. One there. So you can see how it lines up here. You can see here and here. If I take those off, you've got 2 ports. And that's what they're supposed to cover. I don't think there's any reason to take this off. Is there? Doesn't look like it has an adjustable carb. Wow. I didn't even know that was there. My. I think we found the running problem. Look at all this gunk. Interesting. I actually did not know that was there. How about that? I just found something new. I truly didn't know that this was here. So I think I found the running problem, why this stopped running. That was pretty gunked up. Right, so let me get this through the ultrasonic cleaner and we'll put it back together. I'll get a brand new bulb and hopefully it fires right up and runs. All right, see you soon. Okay, so I think we should address this fuel line issue. Let's get this grommet out. Oh, Yellow, where are you? Yellow! Okay, Yellow, let's get to work. There we go. The filter out. Ooh, nasty. Fuel line seems good, it's just a little long. So I'm going to pull a bit more of this line, put on the new fuel filter. This one I'm also going to pull right out. We don't need this one anymore. So the return line we'll just push in. Get the fuel filter in. Now the grommet, just give it a quick spray of WD-40, try to help it. See if Yellow can help persuade it in too. There we go. So of these two, this smaller one, that's the return, and this is the fuel line. So the one with the fuel filter goes on the fuel line. Push that further down into the tank. Don't like that line. Guess I should have replaced it when it was out. So give me a quick sec to quickly replace this line. All right, so let's get the breather cap in. Fuel line. Return line. Oh, the return line's too short. There we go. That's better. Nice. Well, better that come off out of the tank than in the tank. Have to give this thing a good cleaning when I take it out in the summer, or at least in the spring. So I get the air filter housing. Slide it on. Get the gasket on. That doesn't seem right. That does. Zip these on. Next is the air filter and the housing. And we can get the throttle linkage in. Probably would have been easier when the carburetor was off. Perfect. Now we just need to add a little bit of fuel and see if it'll start right up. Add some 2-cycle fuel. Prime it up. And it's not priming. Let's make sure that it was actually in the fuel. Or I've got the fuel lines crossed somehow. Oi, oi, oi. I'll quickly swap these fuel lines. See if that makes a difference. Right, let's get the fuel cap back on. I'll try this again. So let's just try pumping it. I actually switched the diaphragm. So let's try it. Okay, so we got fuel coming up. Sounds like an air leak. Maybe one of these screws isn't tightened down properly. Much better. A little bit of fuel dripping out. That was weird. Let me check this last screw in the top corner. Make sure it's nice and tight. Nope, it wasn't. Give it another pump. Good. Okay. Air filter on. Okay. Choke is on. Let's see. Let's start. Maybe it's off. It's not starting. Looks like we got to delve a little bit deeper into this. Okay, so a little bit more investigative work. Took the carb back off, and yeah, I should have checked this. Let me quickly spray this out with some carb cleaner. Right, now to just prove that it does work, I'm going to give a little squirt of some of the two-stroke into the engine. Now you see, it will work. As I said, it does work. So let's put the fuel lines back on. Now if this doesn't work, I do have a new carburetor on order. Let's screw this on, prime the engine, or at least prime the carburetor. Choke is on, engine is on. Choke is off. Nothing at all. I think the carburetor's got a problem internally. So I'm gonna wait for the new carb to come. We'll swap it out and we'll try it with the new carburetor. Right, so it's the next day. Got a carburetor. Let's get this air filter box off yet again. It also came with 2 new gaskets. So I'll use these. I'm not quite sure what this gasket has this hole here for. There's nothing that matches that on the air filter housing. Weird. Let's get these lines off. To make sure it works. Yep, I would say it works. Perfect. Let's get it on. Throttle linkage. If it starts, I'm going to kill it right away. I don't want to open up the garage quite yet, but I want to see if it does run. So we'll turn the choke on. Switch is on. Let's see if it'll pop off. Yep, it popped off. All right, so tomorrow, because today's really cold, we'll take this outside. We'll give her a test because, yeah, it popped off. So it will run. It will run. So problem with the carburetor. I'd like to run through it again at a later date and try it out. Maybe in the summer. I'll run through it, try it out, see if I can put the original carb on and keep this as a spare. But I have a feeling that the other carb is just done. So we know that this is going to start. Let's see tomorrow how well it's actually going to run. Okay, so it's the next day, but it's like bitterly cold outside. So I don't really want to take it outside, but I think I can crack the garage open and maintain enough heat in here that it should be okay. So let me quickly open the garage. Now let's pull it over and try to adjust it. Choke is on. Switch is on. Stop. Don't touch this switch. Well, I touched it and it's on now. Choke is off. Okay, we got to slow it down a bit because the head's spinning. Okay, start it up again. Interesting. I wonder if there's an adjustment on this model of carburetor since it's aftermarket. I'm not seeing one. Try turning it up just a bit. Okay, let's try it again. And it just conked right out. Interesting. Try that again. Okay, choke is off. Probably has something to do with it being an aftermarket carb, but I wonder if I can adjust the internal jet. I just need a very small flat screwdriver. I just happen to actually have one. See if it fits inside. And it does. There we go. Gave it about a half turn. Try another half turn out. Maybe one more half turn. Nope, nothing now. So choke on. Choke is off. And dead. Still got fuel. Try another half turn out. Right, let's try it again. So far, so good. Honestly, I'm just going to let it air for a bit, but honestly, I'd call this a win. A little bit more tweaking on the carb and we might be able to get it there. I would definitely call this a win, 100%. I mean, we went from it not starting, ran through the carb, nothing, again, nothing, put the new carb on, popped off right away. So definitely a win. All right, guys, see you in the next one. So I'm not quite sure, hit and miss with these aftermarket Chinese carbs. I would like to go through that original carb again, see if I can get it cleaned out, maybe even switch some of the parts between them. Never know, as I'd rather have the OEM carb on because, well, it's always a better carburetor. Switches off and spark plug off for safety. Maybe. Hey guys, thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Very much appreciate you watching all the way through. If you haven't already, give it a thumbs up. That does help the channel a lot, pushes this video out to more people, and lets them know, hey, guess what? This is actually a pretty good video. Also, if this isn't your first time here, and you haven't already, maybe this video is the one where I've actually earned your subscription, and I would very much appreciate it if you would subscribe below. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it again, you watching all the way to the end of the video, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.
How dare you!